Hey guys, remember the time when Samsung phones shot the best quality video in the Android world? Phones like the Galaxy S6, S7, S8 come to mind. And even as recent as the Galaxy S20 series, the regular Galaxy S20 phones with the 12 megapixel sensors, shot quite good quality video when compared to its rival phones for the time. Heck, my Galaxy S20 FE 5G shoots amazing quality low light video when using Pro Video mode. A lot of people don't know about it, but I made a video on this topic. If you have a Samsung phone, you must check it out. Link is in the description. But things started to change with the Galaxy S20 Ultra and the subsequent high-resolution flagship phones. As the megapixel count shot up, the video quality started to go down. The Galaxy S22 Ultra was pretty terrible at shooting videos, especially with that main 108 megapixel sensor. And now with the Galaxy S23 Ultra out with the comically ridiculous 200 megapixel main sensor, does it catch up to the best of the best smartphone sensor for video, which is the Sony IMX 989? Let's find out. But before that, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Alright, let's get right into it. Now obviously from the size of this channel, you can tell that I don't really have a Galaxy S23 Ultra to test. So Samsung, if you're watching this video by any chance, please hook me up with a review unit for 2 weeks. Come on. Anyway, so for this video, I'm going to refer to clips shot by Ben's Gadget Reviews, TechTablets, and Grant Likes Tech. They are amazing content creators. Their videos are linked down in the description. Go and watch those videos to get more samples. Alright, so let's see if the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra can match the Vivo X90 Pro Plus, which is one of the smartphones with this new 1-inch 50 megapixel sensor from Sony, along with the Xiaomi Mi 12s Ultra, I believe. So here's the first comparison done by Ben's Gadget Reviews. And here are a few snapshots that I have taken from his video, and you can clearly see how much more detailed the video from the X90 Pro Plus is. Let's ignore the post-processing from both Samsung and Vivo, as that can be personal preference. Let's concentrate on the actual details retained, because that is an objective comparison. You can clearly see how much crisper the image from the Vivo is. Next, let's move on to the comparison done by TechTablets, which also involves the iPhone. And once again, you can clearly see how superior the Vivo X90 Pro Plus is compared to both the Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. That's why I don't really consider the iPhone to be as amazing at video recording as most people claim, especially in low light, where you can see the iPhone's excessive noise reduction wiping out so much of the detail and texture. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus just kills the S23 Ultra here, which is really struggling with those tiny pixels, not able to gather enough light and having to increase the ISO too much, causing too much noise. It's clear the 200 megapixel 1x1.3 inch sensor has poor signal to noise ratio. Lastly, here's Grant Likes Tech's video, where again the Vivo X90 Pro Plus is significantly more detailed even under indoor light, and outside in very low light condition there is no competition. The Vivo X90 Pro Plus is significantly sharper and more detailed than the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. And it's not just low light, guys. Here's both the phones in bright daylight shooting 4K 30 FPS. And if you watch carefully, you can see that the Galaxy S23 Ultra cannot really shoot real 4K, as it is just compensating for the lack of real details by over sharpening. You can see in the fine tree branches in the back where there is a ton of sharpening artifacts like haloing around the branches on the Galaxy S23 Ultra footage. The fine tree branches are also way more detailed on the Vivo. Even the grass is significantly more detailed on the Vivo. This actually gets worse for the Galaxy S23 Ultra when shooting at 60 FPS. Now the Galaxy S23 Ultra definitely shoots better videos compared to the S22 Ultra, but that is to be expected, right? You're paying such a lot of money and you should expect the newer flagship to be better than the previous one. But compared to the best of the best in the Android world, Samsung is still far behind in terms of video quality. And here lies my issue. I love Android, guys. I love Samsung flagships for their brilliant, like customizable, functional, smooth software experience, great ecosystem with Windows PCs. But their approach towards their flagship phones, camera sensors with these super bloated high resolution smartphone sensors is really not the right choice. I had made a very detailed and nerdy video on why smartphone sensors, like high resolution smartphone sensors, are a gimmick. So you should watch that if you want to know more details on how sensors work, how light is gathered, and how lenses and sensors are related to each other. But in this video, I'm going to explain in just very brief. See, high resolution sensors, like anything beyond 24 megapixel in a smartphone, will definitely be more detailed than a regular 12 megapixel image produced by a smartphone, especially in bright daylight. Definitely, that's a true thing. However, the problem occurs when the resolution count goes crazy high, like these 108 megapixels or 200 megapixels, without significantly increasing the sensor size. Because the Galaxy S23 Ultra's 200 megapixel sensor is not really significantly bigger than the S22 Ultra. It is like almost the same size, but they have increased, like almost doubled the resolution count. And that means at such small sensor size and such high resolution, the pixel size becomes extremely small and the sensor becomes extremely pixel dense. And the pixel density becomes so unreasonably high that the current generation of smartphone lenses are not even capable of resolving that much level of detail. Like a current smartphone lens is truly not capable, like it doesn't have the resolving power to resolve like 108 megapixels worth of data, or forget about 200 megapixels worth of data. And that's the exact reason that my mirrorless camera, the Sony A6100, which I'm filming this video on, it has 24 megapixel sensor. If I shoot a picture with my 24 megapixel Sony A6100 and I shoot it with a good lens, it will be far more detailed than a 108 megapixel image shot by a Galaxy S22 Ultra, let's say. It's the lens that plays an extremely key part to resolve the amount of details. And smartphone lenses are just not at that level yet. So putting these extremely high resolution counts on smartphone sensors is only really not beneficial after a certain point. In fact, anything beyond 50 megapixels in a smartphone sensor is beyond the capabilities of its lens to resolve. Now I know some of you may say about pixel binning, right? So here's my point. Why would you need to pixel bin when you can simply reduce the megapixel count, increase the sensor size, which will automatically increase the native pixel size of the sensor, right? Why would you need to pixel bin? Why are you making the phone's processor work extra hard for doing all this binning and then removing noise and making it work extra hard for no reason, when you could simply increase the native pixel size of the sensor by simply reducing the count of the resolution and just making the sensor a bit larger? Instead of making a 200 megapixel 1 by 1.3 inch sensor, they could simply make a 24 megapixel 1 inch sensor, which will have like way bigger pixel size, like native pixel size. And then if you want, you can also do 2 to 1 pixel binning, increasing the pixel size even better, like even higher. Only 2 to 1 pixel binning is required. Like your processor doesn't even have to work that hard for that. And even in low light, like a 24 megapixel 1 inch sensor will really not have to do pixel binning. And even if it does pixel binning, it only needs to do like 2 to 1 pixel binning. And most of the time it does not even require, like it would not even require to fire the night mode. Guys, phones like the Vivo X90 Pro Plus, the Xiaomi 12s Ultra with these 1 inch sensors, 50 megapixel 1 inch sensors, they don't really need to fire night mode to shoot pictures in low light most of the time. And even if they do need to use the night mode, it's only for like a second or so. That's because it's simple physics, because their pixel size, native pixel size itself is just large enough to absorb as much light required. It doesn't really need to shoot long exposure night modes. A lower resolution would also mean that less processing is required, which means less heat is generated, which also means that lesser battery drain is incurred. So there's so many benefits to having a lesser resolution sensor. Like obviously 24 megapixel to 50 megapixel is plenty of resolution for a smartphone lens, right? Why would you need to go to 108 megapixel, 200 megapixel? It's just meaningless, pointless in my opinion. And finally, lesser resolution, as I said, would mean larger pixel size, which would mean much better video quality, not only in daylight but also extremely good video quality in low light situations, which is the biggest weakness of these super high resolution sensors. That is low light video. Guys, the best low light video camera, which is the Sony A7S3, a mirrorless camera, which has a huge full frame sensor and only has like 12 megapixels, which is just enough to shoot 4K video, which requires only like 8.3 megapixels. And the pixel size is so huge that the A7S3 can practically see in the dark. It is absolutely incredible. When you increase the ISO in the A7S3, because the pixel density is so less, the signal to noise ratio is amazing. So there is so less noise generated when you increase the ISO that, practically, as I said, you can use the A7S3 to see in the dark. But at the end of the day, guys, Samsung is just here to make money. And I guess a 12 megapixel sensor is not as marketable as a 200 megapixel sensor towards the mainstream audience, guys. and that just makes me sad. As a tech savvy person, I can only wonder, I can only imagine what Samsung would be able to do if they didn't like lock themselves down with incompetent hardware and instead use something that is a lot more functional, right? I can only imagine what Samsung could have done with their processing with the 1-inch 50 megapixel sensor that Vivo and Xiaomi is using from Sony. I mean, I'm sure Samsung's semiconductor division knows that their best sensor is still the ISOCELL GN2, which is used by the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, which is a 50 megapixel 1 by 1.12 inch sensor, way bigger than the S23 Ultra's 1 by 1.3 inch sensor, and also has way bigger native pixel size. And I'm pretty sure in low light video, even the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra will beat the S23 Ultra. Like, at least the image will be sharper. Doesn't matter about the processing, but the actual raw capabilities of that sensor is better than the S23 Ultra's 200 megapixel sensor. And that's the truth. Alright, so that's all for this video, guys. Do let me know what you think about the S23 Ultra sensor. Let's be respectable in the comments. Let's discuss. And if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.